Hello friends, in this episode of Weekly Dialogues I have a special guest for you, Mr. Tarek Fatah. Welcome Mr. Tarek Fatah.
Good to be here.
We started the Jaipur Dialogues with you, and nice to have you back again on this episode.
What happened to the other gentleman who was moderating that event?
Well, he's still about.
He's about, but he is no longer. We should talk about it. But go ahead.
So, I'm sure that you have not lost any of your wit. And if you get that other gentleman, you will have something to
I will
do
then
with it.
lose my wit.
So now, let me ask you certain questions which nobody in India asks you, because everybody is busy asking you about Islam and Maulvis and mullahs and
Nobody talks about
CAA
cricket.
and Pakistan.
I've been a sports reporter.
So today I'm going to ask you about something which is very dear to your heart.
Dance?
Once upon a time.
Okay, go ahead.
Dance is now. But
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to talk about communism.
Yes.
I believe you started out as a communist, Marxist. Dyed in the wool or
No,
dyed in cotton?
the Communist Party essentially was banned in Pakistan. There was an East Pakistan Communist Party which was separate. But West Pakistan never, in 1952, they were banned, and there used to be a joke about the communists being hunted around, and the cops came to this guy's place and he said, "Bhai, humko kyun pakadte ho yaar? I am very anti-communist." Well, it doesn't matter, we are arresting all types of communists. So I couldn't have been, and as it is, I don't think I would have qualified, as it was a very hierarchical, Urduized structure of the Pakistani communists. At the top were Urdu-speaking Biharis and UPites, and at the bottom were Pashtuns and Sindhis. Because
Faiz Ahmad Faiz was a top gun communist at that time?
I don't think so. He was anything, because he was a jihadi fighter in the Kashmir war, so he may have been. Anyone ashamed of his mother tongue can never be a communist or a Marxist anyway. And most of the Pakistani communists thought that speaking Sindhi or Pashto or Bengali would disqualify them as the ethereal communists of what's his name, Azmi Saab, Kafi Azmi Saab type ke. So there was a tinge of two types: the Urdu-speaking communists and the indigenous people of Pakistan, who were quite happy to be disrespected by Urdu-speaking communists, because after all, Urdu is God only speaks in Urdu, and since. But
I thought God spoke in Arabic according to.
No, he does speak Urdu. The communists sincerely believed he spoke Urdu, but then they didn't believe in God. So I don't know why they embraced. I even know of Malabari communists in Pakistan who spoke Urdu.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. So I wasn't a member, but
The Bengalis were aggressive. They rebelled against Urdu.
of course, the international day of Mother Tongue Day is January 8th, which is the day the Pakistan Army slaughtered on 1952 a large number of Bangla nationalists for the simple reason they didn't want Urdu as the language of Bengal. And the Biharis and the UPites couldn't understand, इसमें क्या बुराई है? हमारे यहाँ की तो वो जो बिल्लियाँ हैं वो भी उर्दू बोलती हैं, और squirrels chirp in Urdu, and bulbuliyan bhi,
I just want to understand this the development of the Communist Party in the Indian subcontinent, because they started out as some kind of an arm of the Comintern, and in the 40s
they were more
they
linked
supported Pakistan in the 40s.
and
They even advocated the breakup of India into 17 states. If you've heard of the
Yes, the
Gangadhar
Adhikari report. Yes, I've read it. I'm quite familiar. The notion was they were not tied with the Comintern. They were linked with the CPGP, which was the Communist Party of Great Britain, which was tied to the CPSU, which is the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. So the CPI at that time was very closely linked, and the doctrine of Pakistan, you have to understand that whereas India's population was about, say, 20% Muslim, the
23, yeah.
at time pre-partition,
Yes.
the membership of communists in Muslims in the Communist Party was much higher.
Okay.
Even today, Mir Haider Zaidi comes on television to talk about the CPM's point of view while retaining Sayyid and Zaidi as his identity primary. So there is no Dange, there is no Namudripad anymore. तो बेचारे कब्रों में मर के रो रहे होंगे कि what the hell happened here. So the Adhikari Commission, the Adhikari report had the nationalities question. You have to also understand that the Soviet Union itself was based on the doctrine of nationalities written by Stalin, a book called Stalin on the National Question. That every nation that has a language and has the right to nationhood. So from their perspective, even considering that Telangana movement was once linked to the communists, that Bengal would be a communist state and should be an independent country. Forget about being a communist state, or Maharashtra would be. And they talked in those terms, which was often discussed. For example, Balochistan was never really part of India, but the Baloch communists, including Mir Ghoshbaksh Bazinjo, was in the Central Committee, talked of an independent Balochistan, as the Sindhi communists, who were largely, by the way, Hindu, talked of an independent Sindh. And Punjab, the Communist Party in Punjab essentially was multifaceted in all religions. But who can trust a Punjabi when you have Urdu-speaking people to bestow dignity on yourself? So the Communist Party sent 20,000 Muslim communists to Punjab to ensure the victory of the Muslim League. They were aided by the Ahmadiyya Muslims, who were largely in the civil service because of their super loyalty to the British, and the Ismailis, who, by the way, had the king,
The
and then
Aga Khan.
they always talk about Prince. I have always asked, who's the king? Unfortunately, it used to be King Edward. Now there is no king. So the factors that went for the partition of India were quite much on the horizon. I think just after the Second World War. And so Adhikari said that if we have partition, it will be easier to bring up the national question and ask for, say, independence of Tamil Nadu, which has very little in common with Kerala. The Mysore, which was Mysore at that time.
The interesting part in that Adhikari report is that it supports formation of Pakistan on the basis of religion, and whereas
they considered that as a nationality.
Yes, so they basically considered the two-nation theory, but the other nation, the Hindu nation, they wanted to split into 17.
Even Pakistan, they wanted to split. The point was that from their perspective, this will be the spark that will light the prairie fire, as Comrade Mao Zedong.
First get Pakistan away.
It will break, essentially, because they couldn't imagine a Baloch and a Bengali in one country. There's nothing common between these two. And but what the Punjabis did to the Bengalis in one country. Now look at that. They were both Muslims, they were both Pakistanis, and they generated a genocide. Now imagine Punjab and Bengal being in another country of having different religions. What could it be? So that spark was there of their stupid genius, did say, कि अगर मुसलमान हिंदू और मुसलमान पंजाबी और मुसलमान बंगाली एक मुल्क में नहीं रह सकते, तो सिख पंजाबी और बंगाली हिंदू कैसे रहेंगे?
Okay.
Too bright.
Yes. The bright communists, I think the over brightness is actually did the
यही
well.
होता है ना.
और बाद में what we hear is that all the leagues who stayed behind, they all joined Communist Party, and later on through the Communist Party some of them infiltrated Congress.
नहीं. The Communist Party, like Sajjad Zahir and Kurtlan Haider and all these people, went from the pure land of Urdu to purify the dirty language of Punjabi and thus give rise to a purely classless society of they genuinely believed it, because the moment Pakistan was made, they all went back. Sajjad Zahir went back. All of them packed their bags and went back to the pure land of Urdu. So for Indian Communist CPI, Urdu was a holy language. Whole timers used to come from UP. Nawab ke bete jo the, 100 rupees a month. I remember in even 1960s, that's all you got. A whole timer Communist Party member had to live, die for 100 rupees a month. And there were, I knew dozens of them. They were all killed, by the way.
We find that the classical Marxism or communism, or what the economic theory of communism, is generally receded. What you have is that some part of it have been appropriated by the socialists or the different variants of them, socialist democrats or Christian democrats or whatever. Different views. In China, it's become a totally capitalistic society, and the authoritarian part of communism has been retained by them.
Yes.
In Russia, it's completely faded away.
There are more billionaires
and now. You have what is called a mutant, a cultural Marxist mutant.
Yes, that's
which is eating into the vitals of democracies.
Well,
when you look at the situation of the communists today, world over,
I don't think most are run by millionaire Marxists, and I'm fascinated by India, which has a functioning not 1, 2, but 3 communist parties, where the working class is not represented in any communist party. They're people who support Greta and the world, or gay whales, or prawns that need to be preserved, or the fish of Cox's Bazar. These are the new communists.
So the Bernie Sanders kind?
No, the Bernie Sanders is still is a reflection of, but he too considers the subjugation of Muslim women as a victory of feminism. So he brought in his main guns of Navarone, and they were 2 hijabi women, one arrogantly called Linda and the other Ilham. Oh my God, just imagine Bernie with his babes, and they have got hijabs on, therefore they must be for revolutionary change of the uplifting of the proletariat. These are people who hate poor people as part of their culture.
That's why they call it cultural Marxism?
No. I'm talking of the aides that support Sanders. You have to believe in slavery. That's what the Shariat is. So you have Linda Sarsoor, which by the way translates to cockroach. I'm not exaggerating. नहीं, I'm just सही बात है. कुछ लोगों की किस्मत खराब होती है, उनके नाम ऐसे होते हैं. दूसरी तरफ इल्हाम है जिसने भाई से शादी की है. ये 2 लोग हैं सिंबल्स ऑफ मार्क्सिज्म इन अमेरिका. बीच में एक चाचा बैठा हुआ है, वो कह रहे हैं
वो जू है.
हाँ, वो जू है. वो कहता है यार मरण तो पहले कोई थे, कुछ कम कर दे मेरा. Those 2 women are the front line of international liberation struggle. Both of them believe that slaves should be treated properly. That's Sharia.
That's right.
Right? I'm assuming they believe in Sharia because they wrap their heads in very dirty cotton, or they're not even allowed silk.
It's very fashionable even in India today.
Oh, it's a turn on, they say. I'm serious. Have you gone to Old Delhi and how they look at you? The face does the face doesn't move. The eyes move from the corner and the kajol. Oh, तो भैया वो कम्युनिज्म ला रहे हैं तो कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी वो बिग बिंदी वाली क्या कर लेंगी उनका क्या नाम है उनका
Brinda Karat.
हाँ बिंदा कराट इज अ नेम
Yes.
बिंदा
Brinda.
बिरिंदा आई थॉट बिंदा कराट मैं कहा इतना बड़ा बिंदी जो है उसका मैस्कुलिन बिंदा होता है यार हमें क्या पता हिंदुस्तान का तो इट्स अ जोक इट्स वन ऑफ द ग्रेट ट्रेजेडीज for the working poor is that the 8-hour work day, the 5-day work week, the public school system, the public health system, the armed forces owned by a country, not by lords, all of that is a direct result of a series of revolutions that took place both before the French and after the Bolshevik Revolution and liberated humanity from coal mines in Canada, if you lost your job, you had to leave the town. The owners owned the workers. It's quite common in India. You were surrogates. I don't know about here in Pakistan, indentured labor is still indentured. They only have gotten out where the communist presence was there. You won't have land.
That practice is outlawed here, of course.
Yes, but it exists and it will be.
Implementation may lack somewhere, but
it will by law. But the strength of the market is going to destroy the lives of hundreds of millions of people. You think people in Colombia or Chile or Bolivia or Argentina or the French yellow shirts and all these people, what are they fighting about?
My final question in this, because the director is
yes
pointing at the clock.
I understand. Yes,
is how do these two opposing ideologies, communism and Islamism, they have found a common ground? And I would also like you to look at it in the context of India as well.
See, the weakness of the collapse of the Soviet Union and the doctrine of China that it is by Deng Xiao Ping that it is glorious to be rich is a setback of a century. And the world cannot go back because the policies that came forward and got implemented right across the Western world to stop communism. Otherwise, nobody was interested in an 8-hour work week when people were willing to work for 12. Now, all that happened, and the left was left with only one option, anti-Americanism, after 1990. So, Mark Twain has talked about that, and anti-Americanism is not necessarily anti-imperialism, but the nature, the educational component of the Marxist vanished, and as I described earlier, it became a fashion statement for the richer classes to show their love for the working class, and without the base, the left suddenly saw Khomeini. So, for example, CPM was a great supporter of Ayatollah Khomeini. So, anti-Americanism brought together these two forces, which I describe as Sharia Bolsheviks. So, the left, in its illiteracy and not having studied Islamism as a fascist doctrine, is quite willing to work with anyone who is anti-America, even if it is Ayatollah Khomeini. The Islamist, on the other hand, has a single focus, the destruction of human civilization as a first step to roz-e-qayamat, from where they will all go to paradise. It's not going to happen till humanity is destroyed. So, because the left wants to associate with victims of Western imperialism, and the Muslim is crafty enough to portray himself as a victim, the two have gotten together without realizing that throughout the Cold War, it was the Islamists who was hanging the communists. Right across the world.
But they didn't learn even from the Iranian Revolution, where they cooperated with the Islamists and then they were the first ones to be hanged?
Yeah, they didn't, even those who cooperated out of reluctance because the Soviet Union, the CPSU gave the direction to the today to cooperate because the Soviet Union considered Iran to be an anti-imperialist. The bankruptcy of the communists started where communism was first practiced. So both China and the United States, this is the great challenge to Marxists. How are you capable of landing rovers on the moon and not being able to make napkins?
That's wonderfully put. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Fateh.
Oh, by the way, thank you very much for your book. And may the Hindus of India read it, for goodness sake.
Hopefully they will.
Because the first word of Islam is to read, which we carefully hid that in the 500 page.
596th surah, I think. Yes.
It's the first.
It's the first.
But you know we are not known for counting.
I know. though the Arabs were the first to write Kitab al-Hind.
They didn't have a kitab. The only people who never had a kitab. So the Ahl al-Kitab means people who have a book, not people who have God's book. They never met anyone who had a book. There was no ink, there was no paper. They used to write on bones and on wood and skin. That's telling us to shut up.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Press the bell icon on YouTube and don't miss another update.